Dick.
Give me a second so I can mute it once it pops up.
Let me do the thing. Make sure you get me saying the thing.
Dick. What's up, dark judges, desperados, and dudes in dick-shaped helmets? You're listening to Cursed Earth Radio, the one and only podcast bringing dread to the dreadless.
Broadcasting outside the walls of Mega City 1 across the Black Atlantic in North America. I'm Cool Johnny Cool.
And it's Heavy Metal Kid here, right along with him to talk to you about our Lord and Savior Tharg here with this exciting issue of 2000 AD. And Johnny's going to tell you all about what's in store for you in case you can't wait for 5 minutes from now when we actually go in depth.
I sure am. We get part 2 of Judge Dredd, the Citadel, where spoiler alert, Joe's a dick. The Scorchers are against all and Proteus Vex. We're going to set Ben Franklin on fire in the order, and honestly, I'm okay with it. Set them all on fire. Space David Bowie is in trouble when an orc teleports into his happy place in Kingmaker, and Brink is the long, dry setup to a great, great story. I hope.
And of course, your host right along together here, Heavy Metal Kid.
Yeah, we already told him this.
I don't know what the fuck to do.
Your brain is soup, isn't it?
It could have been good. You could have been good. You could have went along with it, but no.
I failed improv, man. I'm not yes-anding over here.
You've hurt me.
Fucking go tell somebody who cares.
God damn, isn't that something? 10 hours of listening to other people's struggles today, and I come in to talk to my best friend, Cool Johnny Cool. He says, go fuck myself, basically.
I am in no particular hurry to not give a shit about any of your fucking problems.
Woo, God damn. Well, let's talk about what's going on then. What's happening in your life?
Hey, how you doing, buddy? It's good. It's good. Good to talk to you. We have fun here.
Hey, sure. What's going on in your world then, dickhead?
Hey, all right, shitbag. Hey, did you see Hyatt Toys put up the pre-order for Judge Fire?
They did not. Shut up.
They did. They sure did. And I'm just continuing to fuck with you.
They did not put up the pre-order.
They didn't. There's no Judge Fire as of yet, my friend. As of yet.
Yeah. You can't get me. You can't fucking no, you can't. Because here's the thing.
You can't get out a complete sentence. It's not my fault this time.
I have lived long enough as a 2000 AD fan to know that we never feel the fucking burn. We never get the fucking Judge Fire action up in here. We'll get 100 other Judge Dredds that look exactly the same, but we're never going to get a Judge Fire unless there's some savior coming along to fucking grace us with what we've all been wanting, with what everybody wants. We don't need Dredd. We don't need no Dredd. We got enough Dredd. What we don't have is Judge Fire. Hiya Toys, if you don't give us Judge Fire, fuck you. How about that?
Man, it's going to be a spicy, salty podcast tonight.
Man, I feel victimized by no lack of Judge Fire in my life.
Yeah, I don't have a Judge Giant figure. How hard would that be?
Fuck. I mean, you know what? I'm with you there too, because I'm a huge Giant fan. Any version, give me Son of Giant, regular Giant. But that's the same thing, man. No fire, no Giant.
I want like 70s jive talking Giant and like Amigo packaging. Like, I want that kind of figure.
I want the parody commercial where like the two little kids are like, it's Jive Talking Giant, and they pull the string and he's like, yeah, baby. I want that.
Oh my God. I would
now with 50% more cultural insensitivity.
I think we just got canceled. I would love a Judge Priest, and he would come with an assortment of bullet-riddled cultists and pedophiles that you could just lay around him.
Can you imagine, man, like how fucking how little anybody would care, but how much the real motherfuckers would be excited if
You
a
mean you and
judge,
me?
like at random, a Judge Priest action figure just showed up. Like everybody's like, I gotta fucking
Who's the fuck's Judge Priest?
yeah, I gotta dread Wikipedia this to figure out who this guy is, man.
I would love to be on that side of the equation because often you and I are on the other side going, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's from 30 years ago, that one panel that fucking.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I don't know if you saw, Jake was posting some art he was working on. I tagged you in it. I was right. It's Maitland. It's
yeah. I saw Judge Maitland. Yes. Looking good, Judge Maitland, 100%. Not Hershey. Surprise. It doesn't. She's not. I'm starting to realize the difference between the two, and I would be fine, but the occasional artist out there forgets that Hershey's a haggard old woman and makes her look like goddamn Mia Khalifa.
Okay, look. Helter Skelter was 15 years old when we read it. So, Of course, she's not going to look like a dried out cactus in that story.
Well,
I want just a universal female judge figure just for you, and the label just says not Hershey.
Female judge. Yeah.
Not Hershey. I do love how the accounting division has a division sign on their pauldron, on their left pauldron, on their shoulder pad. Like, that's real fucking specific. I love how the Justice Department gets way into minutia, and then the SJS just goes batshit with it.
And I'm pretty sure when we've seen Judge Maitland show up in the past, and maybe the chat can back it up. Shout out to our friend Chelsea, who needs to come back on the show again. I'm pretty sure that even when the accounting judges are fucking chilling in their offices in their cubicles, crunching numbers, that they're still wearing that fucking uniform. Can you imagine how
Sans helmet.
Annoying and useless that would be?
Fucking just knocking shit off shelves with the shoulder pads. This is so fucking stupid.
Here's what I want. I want a alternative future where this is essentially like, where Dredd. There was a Star Trek episode like this, and I fucking loved it. It's one of my favorites, where Picard had made a different decision in his life. He changed a big major event that happened. I won't spoil it for anybody that's still watching Star Trek: The Next Generation, but he gets to go back and undo that. And then he wakes up. He basically avoids a major trauma in his life, and he wakes up as like the equivalent to like a janitor on the Enterprise, and has to live this day of, this is where you would have been if you hadn't gone through your struggle. This is where you would have been if you hadn't had this event that you thought was the worst thing that ever happened to you, but ended up leading you to be the captain. I want to see an episode where Dredd has a similar thing, wakes up in accounting division and refuses to take off his helmet while crunching numbers. And so he can't see and is constantly getting in trouble for getting everything wrong, all of his calculations wrong.
Dude never takes off the helmet. Did we talk about In the Bath on the show at some point?
Yeah, we actually we reviewed it on a Dredd Time story.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, that's how fucking goofy Dredd is. He takes a bath with the damn thing on.
Yeah. It's when it comes to Judge Dredd, I can tell you one thing. And my only information to go on is my own Dredd helmet that I made, or that I finished and put the visor in, but you can't see shit out of that visor because I used a welding visor. I can't see shit out of that visor.
I don't think the judges are using welding visors. I imagine they've got some kind of HUD display in there.
Well, I'm just saying, until you can produce a Dredd helmet that doesn't have a welding visor, that's our best evidence. So they're all using welding visors. You
use the welding visor and you're projecting that on everybody.
You want to know something, Johnny? Let me tell you about the time when I felt the least like a man I've ever felt, right?
Does this involve a burrito at a Mexican restaurant?
No. So I am in the throes of finishing my Dredd costume. I finally got my leather suit. I went back and forth with the fucking dorks that were making the vests, and got one sent to me that was made of the thinnest plastic on earth. Ordered another one that was good. Went through all this stuff. ordered my lawgiver, blah, blah, blah. All the stuff that every grown man should be ashamed of doing, but I'm not because it's amazing. But I was ashamed, Johnny, when I went, well, I got to find a welding visor. And oh, well, there's a welding supply store here in town.
Oh, no. I've done a similar thing with what's about to happen.
So I drive down to the welding supply store and I go in and there's like, let me just paint the picture. I go in and there's a bunch of dudes who are large men, built like lumberjacks, long beards, flannel shirts.
Lots of Arn Andersons. A lot of
Arn Andersons, dirty jeans with jeans tucked into the big knee-high, super dirty boots, even though they're working at a welding store. I don't know. And a lot of big trucks. I pull in and I walk in and I walk up to the guy and I'm like, excuse me, sir, can you point me towards the welding visors? As I stand there looking really out of place, and he's like, yeah, what kind of you need down there? You can get you a 20 in there. And he's going, I'm like, well, let me level with you. I'm making a Judge Dredd costume so I can wear it around. And I need one to go here.
It's for make pretend.
Yeah. He just looked at me like he was disappointed in me. You ever been disappointed in someone you've never met? Well, this guy was.
Happens a lot.
He took me over and, then I had to, choose my welding visor by holding them up to my face. And I'll tell you what, though, I checked out that motherfucker, was immediately fucking ran home and put it in my helmet. And then stumbled my way out the front door to go take a photo, tripped over some rocks, couldn't see shit. Still can't see shit. It was
I've had that bucket on my head. It is very dark. I did a similar thing with I used to like buy a new ghost face mask every Halloween season because they're cheap and they smell like vanilla.
Yeah.
It's something in the manufacture process, but I have the Ultimate Warrior says nothing but Andersons in the welding store. So yeah, I figured out if I have my YouTube app open, I can see the chat because it took me like how long to fucking figure that out. Yeah. They're gonna come if I'm dumb like that one more time. They're gonna come take my college degree. But no, I have a screen accurate Scream 2 ghost face robe with the sparkle fabric and all that shit. And I put the mask on. I was like, fuck, you can see my eyes. Who fuck safety? I don't want you to see my eyes. So I skinned like 3 other ghost face masks and proceeded to hot glue that mesh on top of the mesh that was already in there. Right. So you can't see my eyes. It looks cool in photographs, but I also can't see shit from the inside out.
Yeah.
I can see vague shapes, which makes that costume really dangerous because it drapes down by my feet and I tend to trip on the tassel.
Which explains why Ghostface fucking falls down 10 times in every movie.
I need to get it altered to like bring the hem up a little bit because I'm a tall guy. Yeah. And I'm still stepping on it. It makes that costume real fucking dangerous. But yeah, so, I've had a similar welding store experience. Actually, it was this past fall. I went to Lowe's. I was looking for cable conduit for my Ghostbusters costume for the trap. I have a cable that runs from the foot pedal to the trap, and I didn't like the way it looks. So I wanted to put cable loom over top of it. And I found that on the app so I wouldn't have to ask anybody like what bay and aisle it was. And of course, it's nowhere near where it says it is on the app.
Yeah.
And I'm in there and one of the employees sees me panicking and not panicking, but just walking back and forth between aisles repetitively. And he asks me, like, can I help you, son? I was like, yeah, I'm looking for this cable conduit with this loom so I can put it onto my Ghostbusters costume. And it was like looking at my dad being disappointed at me. It's like,
right, yeah.
Damn it, just sell it to me.
I feel like the life of a man baby, like the two of us are well-established man babies. The life of a man baby is just a repeated series of incidents that are exactly like shopping for condoms the first time, but they just get more and more humiliating. Because when you're a teenager and you're buying condoms for the first time, you're getting laid. When you're a teenager or when you're a fucking 40-year-old man and you're buying Ghostbusters conduit cable, you're not fucking getting laid. You're getting You're fucking buying the Ghostbusters conduit cable. There's no less version of getting laid. And I include my Judge Dredd helmet making there, by the way, just in case you're feeling singled out. No, there's no less. I don't know what's worse, though, going in and having to deal with it. What kind of do you need, son? A conduit? Or the nice seamstress lady. I need my sparkly ghost man robe to be shortened, Miss Seamstress lady. I don't know which is more pride swallowing. But here's the thing: at Cursed Earth Radio, we're here to swallow 24/7. That's the new slogan. We swallow 24/7.
I got to make a new Facebook banner now. I realized I hit a point in my life, like my teens through my 20s and 30s, sex. And then I just realized my penis causes me nothing but trouble. And I'm just going to go play with toys again. That seems a lot less stressful in my life. I'm going to do that now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, at the end of the day, you just go from, spending your days going to fabric stores or welding stores, buying things you don't need and playing with something. Yep. And that thing changes throughout the years. So that's what she said, says the chat. Oh, my God. So let's get into the Prog, unless you have any actual news, not bullshit Judge Fire news that you're not going to get me on that because it ain't happening.
Man, nope. Salty. I got nothing, man. I think I had something, but I got nothing. Oh, we got the big AEW pay-per-view coming up. We're talking about wrestling on a Sunday. Why are pay-per-views on Sundays, man? Why are they not on Saturdays? What the fuck? I liked it so much better when AEW was running Saturday pay-per-views.
Yeah, I don't understand how wrestling works these days. I think for my tastes out here, the older I get, I look at wrestling the same way I look at punk rock shows. Let's start them early so that we can get Danny's afterwards.
Most younger bands are like, no, man, we want to play last. And I'm like, I want to play first and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I went to see a show just recently. I went to see High Spirits, one of my favorite bands ever, and stopped at this, went all the way to Kentucky to see High Spirits. Super excited. I got there and I knew the guy playing in one of the opening bands, and I was like, hey, how's it going? Is this your spot, your normal spot? And he's like, yeah, man, this is basically our watering hole. I was like, cool. I was like, are we on a responsible, normal touring band time tonight, or are we on punk rock show time tonight? And he was like, oh yeah, we're on punk rock show. So I was like, all right. So the show starts at 8, but the show actually starts at 10. And that's exactly what happened. And I watched this band that they were my most listened to Spotify band of 2019. Their music's real super important to me. I love it. I was there for their unmatched positive energy in the middle of a sea of black t-shirts, metalheads. This band in white pants with flying V guitars comes out in unlimited positivity. And I was just like, my spirits would have been higher 2 hours ago, but it's still good.
Dude, you know what? We call it 1, 2, 3 time here. You know that.
Yeah.
Doors at 8. Show when the fuck ever.
Yep.
Like when we came back from the pandemic, and they were like, "Oh, we're Doors at 8, show at 9," and I remember going, "That's not gonna fucking last at all ever." You have a repetitive crowd that knows Doors at 9, show when the fuck ever, and it ain't. You're not gonna retrain these people,
right?
And sure enough, where are we now? Doors at 8, show when the fuck ever.
Well, and the thing is, like, who it really benefits is it benefits the club, because they want people to hang around, drink more.
Yep.
And for the bands, if the band's getting a guarantee, your guarantee doesn't change the more people drink. But that's the deal, is clubs want people to hang out and drink longer, and so it's the frustrating thing. And it's also the reason why all ages shows are pretty cool. I played a show once, Johnny, with Green Jelly.
Oh yeah.
And Green Jelly is like, one dude. And I grew up on Green Jelly. I like Green Jelly, but Green Jelly is a major con man. And here's how I'll tell you how.
That's I've heard stories about that guy.
Well, so it really, is he a con man, or is he just a good businessman? I don't know, but I felt ripped
fine
off.
line.
Here's what he does. He shows up. He's one man. He shows up. and he has a band local that has practiced his music. He's never met him. He Chuck Berry's it. Hey, you're my band tonight. He shows up, which is fine, no problem.
Oh, I thought you meant he filmed them in the bathroom.
No, different kind of Chuck Berry mentality. But what happens is he shows up 2 hours late. Now, I'm not talking 2 hours before the show starts, or 2 hours late from when the show starts. He shows up 2 hours after he's supposed to go on. But before that, he calls and he says, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. He's calling his band. So his band's already there. They keep reassuring the crowd, the promoter, that he's not going to show up. The promoter's getting mad. The crowd's hanging out. The crowd's drinking. He finally shows up. The promoter's relieved. And then he gets on stage and he says, punk rock puppet show in 30 minutes. And you're like, really? What do you got to prepare, dude? You're not playing an instrument. Go to the bar and have some more drinks before the puppet show. And you're like, what the fuck? So he stretches this out for 30 minutes. Then the punk rock puppet show finally comes on. And by that point, the bar has made so much money because everybody's hammered. And everybody's so hammered that they don't realize that this dude stretches out a 4-song set into an hour and a half show by telling people to sit down and telling a story and put on the mask. And the dude does literally like the minimal amount, but stretches it out to the max. When he leaves, the club is happy because everybody forcibly had to sit around and get drunk, or, you know, they're not going to see the band. Oh, sure, the occasional person complains and goes home or gets a refund, but bar makes a lot of money. Green Jelly gets his $1,000 guarantee. Everybody goes home thinking they saw a good show, but really they saw 4 songs. And they didn't even play Carnage Rules when I saw them. And fuck that, because that's their best song.
I gotta say, the only Green Jelly I know is the Three Little Pigs. That's it.
Really?
But I've heard a similar story of him like doing that.
Yeah, he's I mean, you know, is he a con man or is he a resourceful, ingenuitive motherfucker?
No.
Yeah, he's both probably. But he also sells T-shirts that he draws on with a Sharpie, but he's a good artist. So, hey. So, yeah, it didn't work for me as somebody who was there. So I'm surprised. Before we go into the dreadness of this whole thing, I'm sorry. There's people watching now. They probably don't want to hear this. So you're telling me you've never heard Carnage Rules?
No.
Which was the soundtrack to Maximum Carnage, Spider-Man's Maximum Carnage.
I knew they were on that game, but I didn't play that game a lot.
Yeah. Oh, and we've got confirmation. Chelsea says exactly what happened when she snuck into a show in Detroit. He's out here doing this over and over. I played with him another time, and I'll say this too. Played with him another time, and nobody showed up. And I mean nobody. 0 people, 0 tickets sold. But I was there with my 5 band members, and we played our opening set, and his backup band played their opening set, and then he didn't show up. And I was like, really, man? I drove 4 hours to play with you so that I could hear the fucking Obey the Cow God or Carnage Rules. And yeah, he never even showed up. But I mean,
did you guys get paid?
No. Well, you know what? It's been so long. That was back in the days when we didn't have a guarantee for sure. This is my first band, and probably didn't get paid, honestly. But oh man, we're playing with Green Jelly.
Yeah.
You know. But no, he didn't even show up, and he did say, because his bandmate for the night was on the phone with him and said, well, Bill says the show doesn't work without people. And I was like, I get that, because it really doesn't work without drunk people that don't realize they're being scammed. So,
I know your game.
Will we get sued by Bill Manspeaker?
I don't care.
They'll
sue us for what?
They'll sue us for everything we're worth. I might sue Bill Manspeaker. I want my gas money back from that show.
You at least deserve that.
Yeah. Speaking of things we deserve is a good Judge Dredd cover, and this one's fucking good, man. This cover for this week's 2000 AD. Let me tell you something about Cliff Robinson. He put a lot of work into this thing.
Well, so did Dylan Teague. I mean, that team is unbeatable. Cliff Robinson and Dylan T could never do a bad cover. And this one actually has things to do with what happens inside the Prog, which we don't get that often.
Yeah, it's almost as if this whole thing is planned out here. So maybe we're gonna get a nice long John Wagner story, intricate plot developments, and all this stuff. Certainly looks like it, doesn't it?
It does, and I don't know why they called it the Citadel when they could have just called it Joe was the Dick that one time. Because that was my big takeaway from this chapter. Was Joe's a dick, and he's always been a dick.
Let me ask you this, Johnny, and maybe I'm not 100% sure, but last week, didn't we see like a preview of like coming soon, the Citadel, and it was a cover and it had the hammer and sickle, and now that's not the cover? Is it that was originally going to be the cover and they went, oh fuck, Red Dawn is happening?
Yeah, I didn't see that, but here we are. John Wagner, again, his foresight coming into play, and he's really got to give everybody a heads up. I mean, this is the closest heads up we've got, I think.
Yeah, very timely, man. But yeah, I could have swore last week, or maybe it was the week before, we saw like a preview of the Citadel.
What was it, in the back of the Prog, or
yeah, something like that? Yeah, no, it wasn't saying that it was going to be the cover, but it was a smaller image, and I think I just kind of assumed like, oh, okay, that's going to be the cover for one of them, and it was like 3 judges standing on the hammer and sickle, and now that's just not in the Prog, hasn't been in the Prog. So I was just wondering, and I certainly would be understandable. I know 2000 AD certainly would be, I guess, justified if they decided they didn't want that to be the cover for one of their Progs. But
whoopsie doodle.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I was just curious if you knew anything about that. But yeah, it's not here.
I hadn't seen it, but I could imagine there are several reasons why they would pull it.
Yeah. There's always reason to pull things. Sure.
Wiener.
Hey, several reasons. Okay, go ahead. What
do you think Winterton saw? Because did he see Joe being a super dick, and that's why they've hit him away all these years, or is that not what he saw? Is it something more nefarious?
Well, so I mean, it's pretty tough to figure out, because it's like, okay, so when it comes to Dredd, he nuked the entirety of East Meg.
Yeah.
So, and that's common knowledge. We know he did that.
So what else did Winterton see that could be worse than that?
Yeah. And the other question is, which would be really cool if this was something that came to fruition here, that it's something we saw in the Apocalypse War that just happened in a panel. We never thought about, oh, that was a big deal, and now somebody saw it, so now it's a big deal. I don't remember Joe doing anything like that would, come back all these years later to haunt him. But then again, the Apocalypse War has been haunting Joe forever, so I don't know.
I mean, it is Wagner revisiting Wagner, and I'm sure there was some little breadcrumb of a detail that we overlooked that this is going to tie into, because that's how John works.
Yeah.
But Joe has a shit bedside manner. Can we address that? How'd you lose the leg, Blue? Oh, IED. Oh, cool. Hey, I got bad news. You're dying. Yeah, I can smell it. Wow, thanks. Yeah. Wow. Hey, I know you're busy dying and all, but can you fire wildly at the approaching Sob judges so we can escape? I'll give you the full eagle. Sure. Yeah. I guess. Whatever.
You know what the first thing that went through my mind when I read that whole interaction? I was like, what if that's just a total lie? What if Joe doesn't smell anything? What if Joe's just like, well, we need a diversion here. I don't know that I see Joe as being a master, like a manipulator like that, other than just being like, you're wounded soldier, we're going to need you to stay behind. But I did think, I was like, I wonder, what if Joe's full of shit? What if he just said that just to, inspire this kid to fucking stay there and be the meat shield?
Oh, I like that term, meat shield.
So it's like, we know Joe's a dick. To what level, I don't know. I don't really think that Joe would lie about that. I think if he needed somebody out there, he'd just be like, look, you're a liability, we're going to need you to stay here. um but who knows? It did cross my mind.
I mean, he's just a straight up dick as soon as he shows up. So, and this is all Winterton remembering the Apocalypse War. And Joe's done a lot of amazing things in his time, but him repelling an entire Sov Legion and taking out their cruiser by himself, I'm wondering if this isn't Winterton, like he's just got dementia and he's remembering things all fucked up. That's
Yeah.
that's a tall order even for Joe.
Yeah, and I guess that's a good point that you make there, which is, as we look at this and go back to this flashback, we really do have to remember that this is not necessarily what actually happened. This is what Winterton is describing. So I'll tell you what, though, I didn't know how badly I wanted to see this. I loved this this whole thing here, getting to see Dredd do the fucking badass 80s action hero shit that, I like a good police procedural as much as the next guy. I love that stuff. But it was cool to see fucking Super Dredd here.
Yeah, I mean, he comes in all fucking John Wayne, slaps around the city deaf guy who's gonna surrender. He just goes out there, two guns blazing, takes down a whole goddamn Sov judge deployment ship. And then he's real cool to Blue, who's bleeding out. That's a good job, Joe.
Yeah, page 7 of the digital Prog, man. That's a hell of a page right there, man. That's good work right there. Good on both of these dudes. Colors, art, like those fucking screaming Sov judges, then engulfed in flames. That's a good image, man. Yeah, this is like, I just enjoyed getting to see Judge Dredd like this, because I don't know. I don't know that we've even in reading the Apocalypse War, as you're reading, I don't have the colorized version of Apocalypse War. I just have the standard version there. I know IDW did colorized, but it was cool to see a like very actiony, like I said, 80s, even color palette wise, 80s-ish kind of version of that. So I really, really dug it.
I mean, you get to see the two sides of Joe too, the action hero and the giant dick. So they covered all the bases. But in the back of my head throughout this whole story, it's going to be, is all this factually accurate, or is this just how Winterton's remembering it in his version of events?
Hadn't thought about that. Yeah. And you make a real good point there. Like, because everybody's got, especially when it comes to something like this, some fucking violent battle that's likely to break even the strongest of people and shatter the perception, the mind of anybody who goes through it. Whose recounting of that is going to be reliable? I'll tell you who. Fucking Dredd. Because Dredd's he's a almost a robot.
He's a very pragmatic dick.
He is, yeah. And it's interesting because that idea of like, the who can we trust, whose account can we trust, rolls right on over into Proteus Vex. Yeah. And that's been my favorite. One of my favorite things about Vex is like every once in a while they remind us that like, whatever went down here was something so big that it was like widely known, but so unclear that it was widely debated by different people. And I love when they give us these little like, oh, according to this person, Vex got out by accident, but according to this person, it was an act of heroism. And
and this version said he ran and saved his own skin. We're not saving any of Shorkillan because she has many parts now.
Yep, good.
And look how much bigger friggin' Celeste is than Glass Raven. Raven looks like Celeste is just dropping him off at his first day at Scorcher pre-K.
Yeah. And I fucking, man, Glass Raven's the first guy we met. I'm a big Glass Raven fan. And you mentioned something last week. You were like, what if Celeste is just the fucking asshole and everybody hates Celeste? And I was like, man, wouldn't it be something if Glass Raven fucking took out Celeste here? I don't think that's gonna happen. But
well, no, because he follows right up on Celeste's orders and starts smashing um, Imperium Ascendant agents like it. Okay, all right, time to make the donuts, and just starts slapping away at them. Of course, the Scorchers don't have conventional weaponry. Of course, they've got fucking rail guns that just launch whatever they have, and whatever they have happens to be dense cubes of ore. I saw that panel when they just go tearing through the Imperium Ascendant's command ship. There'd be nothing left. I mean, those things would hit people and you'd just be spaghetti.
It's such a cool weapon. It's so very much Proteus Vex, like that's what Proteus Vex has always done, which is like, here's a thing, and it's a sci-fi universe, but weirder, and then more sort of textural, more satisfying in terms of weird shapes and weird looks. And does it make sense? It doesn't matter if it makes sense in terms of how something looks. It's just very like it just looks that way because it looks that way. It doesn't matter, like Vex's ship, like these cubes. Yeah, it's just like that weapon is the most Proteus Vex weapon there is.
Man, so the Scorchers have just declared war on the Imperium Ascendant.
Yeah.
And which I would assume makes the pursuit of Vex pale in comparison to what we need to do now, because they had to bring the Scorchers into the Obdurate War to stand against the Obdurate, because they really couldn't stand against them by themselves. So now, how is the Imperium Ascendant going to deal with the friggin' Scorchers, who have done a heel turn?
Yeah. And who are it's also like they're all tied in there together, like
what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to conceive. Deceive is what I meant to say. Deceive.
If everybody starts pointing fingers, man, this is just fucking asshole city out here.
Yeah, and Vex hasn't even gotten to the point to reveal the truth that's going to shatter things. Yeah. But he's out of there. Celeste has done his best Hulk Hogan at Beach Blast, Bash of the Beach 96. Told the Imperium Ascendant fans where they can stick it, brother.
Yeah.
And goddamn. So Vex is out of here. The Imperium Ascendant is going to, I assume, try to bring weapons to bear on the Scorchers, but the last panel says, but the day was not over yet. And which means this is going to be meat in a grinder, I think.
Yeah. This was brutal, man. It was like it's like you said, the panels where those cubes are just ripping through things, like incredibly brutal without being bloody violent, but like you feel it. Probably the best imagery wise, the best part of this issue was just that, and seeing it and just having the suggestion, here's what they used as their weaponry, and then seeing it just felt super brutal and pretty cool, man. Proteus Vex always has one extra quirk up its sleeve, like, and bullets, it's the cubes.
No,
cubes of ore.
Giant metal cubes that they're going to fucking lob at people with a rail gun. It'll be fine. And while we're here at Proteus Vex, we did neglect, we had some 2000 AD news that you messaged me last week, where somebody was talking about some of the best new stuff in the Prog, and Vex Team got a nod, which I thought was great. Somebody else out there loves Vex that's not us.
Yeah, it was the celebration. I think they were saying, 45 years in, here's like, I think it was 4 and 5, and like, here's the best 4, and here's the best 5 new, 4 old and 5 new, and everything. I immediately went, because this is our crusade. When we find something like Red Road that we won't let them forget about, when we find something cool in the Prog, it becomes like, all right, like, we're gonna make sure that people know about this thing. And I was like, all right, they better have at least given a nod to Vex, and lo and behold, they did. And if just while we got you here, if you're listening, I'll give you a rundown, actually, because I've got it right here. Things they labeled as 4 classics: Fiends of the Eastern Front,
No mention of Teams of the Western Front, unfortunately.
They did not. Nemesis the Warlock, Bad Company, and Button Man. Believe it or not, Johnny, I have the Button Man graphic novel, and
Really?
I've never read it. And then really, I felt like they really kind of hit all the good ones here with the five recent recommendations. They started with Brink, Fall of Dead World, Proteus Vex.
Hell yeah.
Followed by this one actually kind of
Hope
surprised me. Hope and Stickleback.
I would have swapped out Stickleback for
the Order.
Defoe.
Oh, Defoe, yeah.
I would have put Defoe in there.
Did you know
say
what?
the Order? You said the Order.
Not the Order, sorry. The Out.
Nope, you said the Order. I heard it.
It's a Freudian slip because they say Freudian slips are usually things that are subconsciously happening that you say out loud, but Freud thought everything was about dicks, I feel like I've been fucked by the Order every week. So
I was going to say Freudian slip is when you say one thing and mean your mother.
Yes, Jerry Seinfeld.
If I had Seinfeld money, I wouldn't be slumming it on this podcast.
Oh, you sure would. Hey, look, Hope. Yeah, I know, and I like. Hope was one of those ones that was also a slow burn, but I look back at Hope as being like, that was pretty cool. It was pretty grim.
I liked Hope. I did like Hope, but I liked Defoe a lot more. Like Defoe got up on my boo-boo.
Well, I was going to say, maybe the deal with Defoe is that it's, I think they were saying like recent additions. I don't know how far back Defoe goes. So maybe they felt like, oh, Defoe's a little too.
I want to say late aughts, early 2010s, I think.
Yeah.
I think maybe 2009.
Plus, Pat Mills being Pat Mills, we don't know if maybe will he ever come back.
God, I hope so.
Is he still? Is he decided to come back and be friends with 2080? Is he mad at him? Was he ever mad at him? I don't know.
All I know is Titus has one more foe, and that outside of the Reeks, and that's the Superior Heroes. And he hates the shit out of them. Yeah. And at the end of the Divisor, the Crown made it look like the Superior Heroes saved Defoe. And that's got to piss him right off.
Man, and listen, if you're listening to this, and I do see there are a couple of people hanging out in the chat. If you've not read Defoe, the Divisor, like all Defoe's cool. The stuff we've read is cool. The Divisor is a masterpiece. It's one of the best things we've ever read on this podcast. It's perfect horror-related, sort of nightmarish artwork. It's a masterpiece. It's a fucking one of the greatest things we've read on this.
When S.K. Moore also drew that bit in Trifecta.
Yeah. So I always get confused. It was S.K. Moore. We were crediting who?
We were crediting Disraeli.
Okay, yeah. So we've gone back and forth. I never can remember who's who on that one, but
Disraeli drew the low life section of Trifecta, and S.K. Moore drew Defoe. Anybody who hasn't read Defoe, read Defoe. It's amazing. Save it for the fall, because I always kind of go back to Defoe in the fall because that's when we first encountered it. It's a perfect Halloween read. Trifecta, one of my easily top 5 favorite Dredd stories. That thing is a fucking amazing masterpiece.
Yeah, that one really, I like that one, but that one hit you hard, man. That one hit you right where you live, didn't it?
Dude, that's, come on, a normal Overdrive and Sensitive Clegg and Dirty Frank.
Yeah, Dirty Frank was, I never expected you to fall in love with Dirty Frank the way you did. But
he's so good. He's easily one of the best new characters in the last 15 years. And eventually, when we get back to doing things that aren't the weekly, we're going to cover the low life because it's really fucking good. Dirty Frank fights baby ninjas. He gets stabbed in the ass. He joins a rock band, has a whole adventure. Speaking of adventuring holes, it's the Order.
Yes. This week in the Order, a choo-choo train driver fights against George Washington so that they can eliminate the tentacles that are attacking the SS Titanic. But unfortunately, at the end, a female version of Napoleon Bonaparte and a robot come in, and a deaf man has a little person living in his ear. For more on the Order, go listen to probably any other Judge Dredd podcast. I didn't read it. That's what I think happened. And it also looks like Delta Burke makes an appearance at the end.
I'm leaving it at that. That is the best review of the order you'll ever get anywhere. We're done. That's it. I'm going to say you're right on all counts. Moving on.
Yes. Let's go on now to the story of Yolandi Wasser from
Diantward
in Space Meets an Orc. No, the Kingmaker is man, I'm starting to like it. I still can't say I fully have bought in. What do you think? What's your thoughts here?
I like this episode. We got to find out that Space David Bowie / Yolandi from Diantward's a bit of a dick when their forces retreat from the planet of Eternia when they fight the orcs and He-Man. There is no retreat, no surrender, much like Cobra Kai. So they make their troops kill each other.
Yeah, that was pretty harsh, man. I was like, wow. I thought that we were experiencing some major space dickishness over on Vex, but hey, you like space dickishness. There's plenty over here in fucking Kingmaker as well.
We need to trademark that phrase.
Yeah.
We need to trademark that and fuck ugly.
I feel like fuck ugly is something I picked up though. I don't think I can take.
No, we're taking credit for it. If Gene Simmons can copyright a bunch of dumb shit, so can we.
That's true. I'll tell you my one thing every time I read Kingmaker, and it's a hang up for me. It's just like, dude, whose choice was it to give this thing this fucking dorky haircut?
What, Yolandi there in space with the bowl cut?
I think Yolandi is incredibly sexy, but that's because she's Yolandi weirdness. She's never been scary to me or intimidating. I don't think sort of space warlord has the same impact as with the Yolandi haircut as does Yolandi herself. I don't understand who chose this. I don't know. It's the same thing as like, is it the same guy that came out and created Guy Gardner and gave him the same haircut minus the back? I don't know.
This is where you're wrong. They didn't choose this. This was done to them.
Yeah.
You don't choose this. This is done to you. And this is done to you at the flea market in the booth next to the guy with the hook hand that's selling the Fleetway quality dreads.
Yeah, it's such a, I mean, I don't know if the goal is like, it doesn't seem like something where they're like, what was like Zosser full of Zilk, where they're like,
oh my God,
we'll just throw this in here because it doesn't make any fucking sense and it's weird. Because this is very serious, but like in a real situation, every time if I'm part of this army of this white wedding dressed Yolandi Wasser space warlord, every time they give me an order, I'm doing a little Flava Flav laugh because like this thing is dorky looking. It's not intimidating. It's dorky looking.
No tyrant has ever been a tyrant with a bowl cut.
No,
because the bowl cut is not a power cut.
No, the power cut. Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird choice, man. The
only person in history that made a bowl cut work is Mo Howard.
Yeah. And he was the leader.
He was. But he led through violence and fear, not respect.
That's true. Yeah.
The bowl cut does not come with respect.
I would
personal or otherwise.
I would just love to know is it script? Ian Edgington wrote the script for this and Lee Gallagher did the art. So my question is, if we were to pull up the script for Kingmaker, it says, opens with a close-up shot of the moon, followed by a silhouette of a giant creature in a wedding dress, closer shot of creature with Yolandi from Diantward's haircut, or did our man fucking wild card Lee Gallagher go, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give this fucker a bowl cut.
Lee read the script and went, you know what? Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Bowl cut.
He was like, sounds like a dick. I know. Bowl cut.
And it's not just a bowl cut, it's a bowl cut mullet. It's the biggest follicle fuck you could get.
Yes, and I'm going to admit this here for everybody to hear. I have an issue with bowl cuts. I have a problem with a bowl cut to the point where I go a little too far too hard on bowl cuts. I think I've said it on the podcast before, but it's worth repeating again. I went to see a show, and there was a band opening up. They were a nationally touring band, so I can justify being an asshole and yelling things. And I was in the back, so who knows if they even heard it. But there's a band called Lorna Shore. Lorna Shore. I was there to see Cattle Decapitation. Lorna Shore opened up, and their singer had a bowl cut, and so I really felt the need in between every song when the music got quiet to go bowl cut, and was doing it in between every song. Well, then he got kicked out of the band for some sort of, he was canceled for something. I don't know. So don't
for
feel
having
that.
a bowl cut.
I certainly felt like he needed to be canceled for having a bowl cut. So I got an issue. So, maybe there's people out here watching this that are like, I don't see a problem with the bowl cut, but man, you go to that last page, top panel, upper right. Look at this. I mean, it is nightmarish.
It's made even worse with the bowl cullet.
Bowl cullet, yeah. And presumably though, at the end of this, if you haven't read Kingmaker, the orc teleports up, opens up a portal, dragon portal, and sends this poor bastard down into the battle below to presumably get picked on relentlessly for having this dorky haircut. Because here's one more thing, and I know we're spending a lot of time on the bowl cut, right? But here's the thing. This creature, look at it. Zoom in, go to the last page if you got your...
I'm seeing it.
All right. Zoom in on that top upper right panel. This thing clearly has to get that bowl cut. Like, fresh. That's shaved on the sides, long in the back, cut straight around. So there is, it's never been shown in Kingmaker, but there's a point in this thing's existence when somebody has to come in, or it has to go out and sit down in a chair with the little thing over it, your little cape, and say, I would like a bowl cut with a mullet. Shave the sides.
That doesn't sound like that at all. I want your bowl cut with your mullet, please.
Dude, that's the problem. So this thing, cover up the head there, and it should sound like what I said.
But it sounds like it's haircut.
Once you add the bowl cut, it sounds like it's haircut.
It is coiffed. You are right. It is coiffed and it is maintained. So maybe it was the initial bowl cullet was done to them, and then they decided to go with it and said, fuck it, we're going to do this. Yeah. I mean, dude, you scan it all the way back through. And again, hey, I'm not a fucking writer. I'm not an artist. I'm none of those things. So this is just the opinion of a fucking 40-year-old man who went to a welding store and got made fun of for buying a welding visor for my Dredd helmet. But look, as I go through and I look at all the stories we've read this week, I think it's very incredibly important that when you're choosing the haircut for your main villain, that you keep in mind that if you put a haircut on a villain, to people who are reading it, it's going to sound like the haircut. And your voice that you just did is exactly what that haircut sounds like. Your bowl cut, mother, please. Immediately, the bowl cut lowers its level of like intelligence by like a number of points. It does. I do have a serious question for our friends, our readers in the UK and Europe. If you go to page 22, where our main orc is talking about what he's going to do to Yolandi here, he exclaims, we're going to take the fight to them, to shit them up where they live. Is that a common phrase in the UK? I'm going to go shit you up? Because over here, it legit means I'm going to wreck your plumbing and melt your porcelain, and it's going to be a disaster. Yeah. Never have I heard that phrase before this. And I'm going to shit you up. I don't even think it registered to me as being like a weird saying. I think I just kind of glazed over it, and now you're saying it. Yeah, you were befuddled by the bullet. Yeah, and you know who the other offender of this is. I hate to say. I hate to pick on somebody who I believe has legitimately been the part of the bowl cut mullets. Is that what we're still on? And well, just a bad haircut.
I hate to pick on our man.
It ain't fucking me.
No. Rob Williams, and he didn't do the art, but in his end of days, that fucking angel with the Prince Valiant haircut was pretty close to being just as dorky as this thing was.
They went to the same barber.
Yeah. Yeah. So you give and it was the same issue with Guy Gardner. I remember seeing him, and I know he's a product of the 90s when everybody had a bowl cut, but yeah, it was never a very heroic hairdo, man.
No, but here's the thing. When the bowl cut first showed up,
word, man. Yeah.
bowl cut, when the bowl cut first showed up in the late 80s, early 90s, we weren't doing it ironically. We were just fucking doing it because that's where society was at the time. And that was acceptable, unfortunately. And then Billy Ray Cyrus showed up with his legendary Kentucky Waterfall, and it just blew the doors off. Now people are doing it because, get it. It's ironic. I still think if you give your child a bowl cut or a mullet, that should be classified as child abuse. I'm just putting it out there.
But it's interesting, man, how things can become, because for all I know, and I'm pretty sure that I'm right in saying this, that singer, going back to Lorna Shore, I'm pretty sure that singer was considered pretty sexy, hot, and attractive by all the ladies in the audience that night. And I'm the out of touch dork yelling bowl cut back here. So, things just have a way of coming back around. And those of us that lived, I heard my parents do this. I heard my older siblings do this. They're always like, oh God, that wasn't good the first time around. And it seems like a cycle, but we don't need to bring that into comic books.
No, I mean, it's just, I never thought I would see it come back, much less ironically, like a fucking bunch of goobers getting ironic haircuts.
Hey, Ultimate Warriors in the chat saying they've considered a Budnick haircut from Terminator 2. So
I just rewatched T2 a while ago, and that is a fucking legendary mullet.
I'd rather have that haircut though than the John Connor haircut in that.
Well, man, if you see Edward Furlong now, like it looks like he went through about 8 of his own personal judgment days.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Has. You know what though? I'll tell you what. I follow Edward Furlong on Instagram, and I'll tell you one thing, man. That guy's out front there talking about being in recovery, and he's like, "Yo, good. I'm glad to be live. I'm here." So yeah. Well, and that's the struggle when you've met somebody as a child actor. That's who you know. You got to watch them grow up and get weird looking.
Well, look at Macaulay Culkin. I mean, he went through. He's kind of in vogue again. He went through this real awkward, like rough patch where his parents ripped him off and he was left with nothing, to coming through it. And he's like adjusted and okay. And he's a dad now. And
he's handsome again. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to watch Home Alone like 800 times in December because my daughter just discovered it. And I wanted to put my fucking thumbs through my eyes.
Yeah, I can imagine worse things watching once, but if you're watching it a million times, no.
Dude, when she was in pre-K, the Christmas she was in pre-K, they showed him Polar Express and she had never seen it before. And I had to watch that damn movie every day up and through April of the following year. And I have never seen a scarier movie than dead-eyed CG Tom Hanks kidnaps children and takes them up to dead-eyed CG Santa and Aerosmith.
See,
what a fucking nightmare.
Is Aerosmith in that? What the fuck?
Yeah. They play a song called Something on Top of the World and the North Pole, and it's fucking horrifying.
So this is how I know that you would be a better dad than me. Because I would have to exact my revenge on my kid for that. Now I understand that it's like when you're a kid, you love things. I did that to my parents, but I would have to find ways to do that. And I'd have to wait till I was super old and like bedridden. And I would call my kid, and I'd be like, I need you to sit by my bed. This may be my last night, use guilt trip them in, right?
We're gonna watch Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone.
No, that'd be hell for me. That'd be
hell. But I'm willing to suffer as long as I can drag somebody with me.
And then you go, gotcha, and then you die on them.
What a swerve.
Yeah. Got him. There we go. Yeah.
Got him.
No, you're a good dad, man. All parents who sit down and watch bullshit with their kids are good parents, man.
Here, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna let you in on a parenting secret. Okay, so like the first time you sit there and watch it with your kid, when she was watching this, I was still working night shift. So no matter how late I was stuck or if I got called in to fix something at 4 a.m, I had to be up at 8 that fucking morning.
Yeah.
And you learn as a parent what can buy you time.
Yeah.
Polar Express bought me a 90-minute nap every fucking day. I'm not even, when I was a kid, summer of 89, when Keaton's Batman hit, my mom took me to see it opening weekend. The next weekend, she took my friend Ryan and I to see it. And then for the following 5 weekends, I shit you not, 5 weekends in a row, she would just take Ryan and I to the theater and drop us off so we could go see Batman again.
Yeah.
And I grew up thinking, oh man, my mom's so cool. She's letting us do this. When I had a kid, I realized, oh, she got 2 hours to herself on a Saturday. Fucking good play, Mom. Good play. Because I run that gambit now too. I'm like, oh yeah, you can totally do that. Snooze.
Yeah. She got what she needed, but also enriched your childhood with great Batman movie. Yeah. Hey, and before we go into, I gotta say, yeah, I'm sure this is going to become a discussion, one of our next ones. But how much are we going to both? We may just need to do a whole episode where we forewarn people that we're going to probably do a real long Batman discussion at the end of one of these.
Yeah, and props to everybody who made it through last week's episode where we just wouldn't shut the fuck up about horror movies for an hour after the hour-long episode. You all are the MVPs.
Yeah.
You can get gold stars if you wanted. I got some stuff to say about Batman, but let's talk about Brink first, because if I start now, we're never going to get through this.
No. And I think maybe the way to do it is let's do Brink and then just forewarn our listeners that we're gonna see it this week, probably both of us. I don't know. I know I am. And then at some point real soon, we're going to be talking about it. So
yes. So Brink, for those of you who haven't read before, is a very, very, very dry procedural, slow burn, but it's totally worth it. So I know things are lots of details, lots of slow movement. Who the fuck knows what's going on right now? Hang with it.
Love Brink. Love the fucking universe. And especially like, I feel like we are, now that we went through that whole last story arc, which was real cool, really good. Now it's like I feel at home in Brink, and so I don't feel like impatient. I'm like, oh yeah, we're getting there. Like, you need to read all these little yellow boxes that pop up.
Yes.
And it was like, back when we were reading our first run of Brink, it was like I would read the yellow boxes and be like, I never remember these, but somehow they worm their way in, and it's like, okay, now I know who this person is. I get what's going. There's just little bits of information where you're just like, okay, they definitely help. And I, for some reason, had the tendency to just be like, I don't need to read that because I'm lazy.
Read it all, remember it all, because we will come back to it. I guarantee it.
This guy here, who's writing his book, who's chasing down the next big story, he's going to get himself killed.
Yeah, by mobsters within the union. And I thought this is what was going on in the first chapter, but I wasn't quite sure. But it was, what's her face from the last chapter of Brink? It was her partner that was murdered.
Yeah.
So, and I can't remember her name. That's how much detail I remember. It has been two years, so forgive me, but I remember her face. Yeah, but our author here, Nolan, is digging around in union contracts on the Hab, and something's not right, and he's going to get murdered by mobsters in the union. And our guy that shows up here at the end, just saying hello, Jethro. He's like, it's just a pretty bland. Oh, hi, I'm here. He's gonna murder somebody. I'm gonna call
it. he's not a nice man.
His name's Jethro. He's gonna kill somebody.
Well, it's possible. Kill or something worse.
That face says I can't get near school.
Yeah, but definitely just don't freak out. Like, don't think that the Brink is going to be some like the term I always use. I know I use it a lot for the order, but it's like you pick up the comic, the Sunday Funnies, and you see one panel of Prince Valiant, and you're like, I don't get it. I don't know what's happening. That's how Brink can feel, but it's worth reading. There's not much to say about it this week because we're just establishing stuff, and Brink's not gonna throw a big alien space battle at you. It's not what it's about. So
it's all dry procedural.
Yeah. So man, I'm very happy for the most part, minus one story, which
we're 4 out of 5 again. So it's good to be back in this territory.
Yeah. And if you'll notice, Johnny, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but if you go all the way to the back to the letter of the week, it's our letter.
Well, fuck you.
It's not our fucking letter.
It'll never be.
But hey, check your inbox, Tharg. One of the few people that wrote in from the United States ever, probably.
I just want to be mentioned. I want Tharg to notice us.
Yeah, I want Tharg to say, "Oh, my prodigal sons from the United States. Here's
we're over here repping and shouting about
45 album for you."
We're over here repping and shouting about Judge Dix, and the least we could do is just notice us, you asshole.
I was kind of picking on the cover for the 45th, and I realized I was a little bit dumber than I thought because I was like, what kind of dork out here says, oh, we'll give the kids the records they're listening to? It was the 45th.
Yeah.
Playing 45s. Still an old man way of thinking. And I'm saying that as a record collector here, but I'll cut them some slack on that. It was clever. They were picture discs. I get it. But so sorry about that. Sorry, Brian Bolland. Although I don't think it was Brian Bolland's idea. If I read somewhere, I think it was Jason Kingsley. Is that dude's name? Jason Tharg, whatever his name is, main guy. I don't know.
I'll have to go watch Future Shock again.
Yeah.
My dad and I always have to change my nomenclature when we're talking about records because I came up in punk rock where records are classed by their size, 12-inch, 7-inch, 10-inch.
Yeah.
But I know it's a 45 or 33, and nobody cuts 78 anymore, but that's what 10s used to be way back in the day. It was 78s. But yeah, if I'm talking to him, I know I have to like switch gears and go, no, 33, Dad. It's an LP, 33, and he'll just look at me.
Yeah, you know what though? That can fuck you up too. Because here's a little story that happened to me just last week. I bought this new record, and this is the dangers of when you traffic in black metal. Because so I bought this new record from this band, a big fan of this band called Darkest Bethlehem, and so put the record on. I'm listening to it, and I'm going, man, this is atmospheric and moody and grim and cool, and I love it. And I listened to the whole thing. And then posted a photo of it, and the guy who runs the record label goes, "Awesome!" He's like, "Hey, you did play it on 45, right? It's 45, not 33." And I was like, "No, man." I was like, "I just listened to this whole record and really had a really great, enjoyable listening experience." And I was like, "So I guess I'm gonna go listen to how it's supposed to." So I changed my belt, put it on, and actually it was not a slow, moody, grim, dark, atmospheric record. It was a frantic, insane, nightmarish, thrashy, awesome record. So here's what I've realized. Darkest Bethlehem, if you're listening out there, it's 2 records in one, and I don't know which I like better because the first one that I listened to I really fucking enjoyed.
So it was a 12-inch cut at 45.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I hate when every time I put an LP on, I'm like, check the label, check the center label, because I've done that. I think it's a Mondo Halloween 78 soundtrack it's on 12-inch, but it's cut at 45. So it's 2 LP set. The first time I put it on, I had it set to 33 and a third, and it starts up, and I'm like, that's way too fucking slow. God damn it, they cut it at 45, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, the funny thing is, on the center label to this record I'm talking about, there's no speed,
Of
and
course. Why
he
would there
said
be?
that he goes, I guess I got to put the speed on it, and he's like, then he goes, next time I guess I'll put the speed on the label, and he goes, then again, why force people to follow the rules? Whatever sounds good sounds good. I was like, that's the fucking spirit, you know. So yeah, that got me thinking though. Most of the extreme metal that we listen to, really based on what speed you play it at, it could be a completely different record.
Have I been listening to my Dark Throne LPs at the wrong speed this whole fucking time?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly, man.
I tried to explain to my dad once because we were talking about record collecting. And I said, yeah, HMK's just gone really way down the rabbit hole. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, he's really into finding the most cult black metal he can possibly find. And he goes, what the fuck does that mean? So I had to explain what that was. And I said, yeah, he got this one record. It's just a black record with no label and a black jacket. And I don't know where the fuck he got it. And he goes, well, that sounds stupid. I was like, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
It is stupid. It's awesome, but it's real stupid. Yeah. There's a huge part of certain musical genres where there's got to be just a certain level of absurdity for it to be cool. It's like, it's the paradox. It is stupid. When I was ordering it, I'm ordering a black record with no label, with no artist, with no catalog number, but it's like John Hammond. I think I quote this a lot. Yeah, I still, I like to believe that there's a little bit of mystery left in this world, and I can own it for the price of a obscure black metal record on eBay.
What's on it? I don't know. Let's find out.
I thought when I listened to it that I was going to summon the fucking devil.
Oh, it's so few and far between of those times where it's like watching Texas Chainsaw. Like, I shouldn't be watching this. This feels wrong. This feels like I'm doing something awful. And
yeah.
Whereas you have gone none more black, I have gone the complete fucking opposite direction. Yeah. Like, I've had this renaissance from watching Peacemaker and James Gunn posting the soundtrack on Spotify. And I have just been open to this world of glam sleaze rock that still exists in Europe that I had no idea was happening.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's got me all boned up. And I've talked to you about this.
Yeah.
And like shit, like I found this band called Crazy Licks. Fucking love them. Band called Santa Cruz.
Oh, yo. I love Santa Cruz, and everybody in my band seems to not have any love for this band, or it says that they're very generic. Santa Cruz has this song called Young Blood Rising. That band is fucking awesome.
Fuck yeah, dude. They got one track called Back from the Dead.
And
the riff is so nasty. I fucking love it.
The riffs you're right. The riffs are fucking amazing. Yo, have you listened to Striker?
I have not.
All right, that's check that one out, because that's good shit too in that same genre. Yeah, man, that's cool that you're at that in that genre. That's a fun genre to check out.
Dude, it's just like unhinged, and it doesn't take itself seriously. They're just fucking rocking out. There's this, I think they're called Enemy from Sweden or something like that, but they have a song called Powertrain, and it is just gut bucket rock and roll. And it came on in my office today. I'm like, fuck yeah. Well, I'm a Powertrain. Yeah. But no, dude, Santa Cruz like hit me. It got up on my boo-boo, and then I researched them, and apparently Archie Cruz, the lead singer, guitar player, is a bit of a dick. And,
yeah. They've had a lot of problems with him. Yeah.
Like it's like the last lineup just fucking collapsed in on itself, and it's basically just him now and a drummer.
Yeah, he's I mean, he's living that life, man. That fire your whole band. You can't do shit without me. I'll show you, motherfuckers. That kind of, he's Axl Rose in it, man.
Yeah, he followed the same path that Alexi from Children of Bodom did, man. And that still pisses me off.
Yeah,
he fucking legitimately drank himself to death at 40 something.
Yeah,
he died of cirrhosis.
Yeah,
like what the fuck, man? It was because of Alexi. I discovered Children of Bodom in I want to say 2005 or 6, right before Are You Dead Yet came out. And he's the one that really inspired me to pick up the guitar again. Like, I was still playing, but to really lock down and take it seriously. And I didn't have a kid yet. I was doing practice 5 hours a day. And, I've waned since then, but he was a big part of my renaissance. And to know that he fucking drank himself to death. I'm like, God, because at the end of the last tour, he fired everybody. And they said, okay, you realize we own the name, right?
Yeah.
The remaining band members. And he went, oh, fuck. He's like, yeah, we own the name. So I don't know what you're going to do. So he started Bodom After Midnight, and they only recorded like 3 complete songs.
Yeah.
What a fucking waste. But no, Santa Cruz, fucking love him. As a musician, he seems like an impossible tool to deal with, but he's got the look. He fucking looks awesome. I wish I looked like him. He's got the hair and the youth and the lack of depression, but he is crippled by substance abuse. So you gotta pick your battles.
You're basically what this sounded like. He's got the hair and the looks of the lack of depression, but he's gonna die soon. Fuck him.
Well, no, I'm just saying you got, when you're building your character, you've only got so many points, attribute points you can spread out.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, man. I'm putting all my shit in hit points, dude. I don't mind. I'm gonna live forever out here. Hit points and codes.
My buddies used to play, like, the original MMORPG was called Asheron's Call, and they got way into it. They were playing this shit on dial-up. That's how old it was. And my buddy Ryan, he loves Conan. He's a big buff dude. He always wants to be make the biggest fucking character. Oh, yeah. So he makes this giant barbarian. And they found, like, the biggest weapon in the game was like a mountain troll axe.
Yeah.
But everything in the game had weight. So, you had to balance your weight ratio. You could only carry so much weight.
Yeah.
And the only way he could carry this axe was if he was completely fucking naked. So he was completely fucking naked. And he would just run around with this giant troll axe. And I'm like,
that's terrifying, man.
That's the way to do it, man. Just charge into battle. Your wiener just flapping in the wind, swinging this giant fuck you axe.
No, the best combo for terrifying foe is giant man, giant axe, tiny wiener, raged out. Like you want, if you got, like, having a big scary dude with a huge dick running at you, that's scary. But having a dude who's in battle mode so hard that his penis is even retreating, like, he's not even coming to kill his own penis, but his penis is like, bro, let me just get out of the way while you kill these motherfuckers. That's how you know he means business.
All the blood
Dick
is going
not out at all. Dick is in. He's not fucking around, and his dick knows it.
All the blood has been sucked into his heart so it can be pumped to his muscles.
Yeah.
You got to bring the dick and balls in. They can't be sucking up blood. It's got to go to the heart.
Yeah. Dick and balls are like, I think I'm just going to go inside while this motherfucker takes care of this shit.
That's some Slane shit right there.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Warp spasm. Tuck everything in. Everything in.
Yeah.
Oh
my god. How do we segue away from this, man?
I think we were talking about. So Batman, real quick. I went back and watched Batman v Superman, the Ultimate cut. That it makes so much more sense than the theatrical cut. Yeah. I think Warner Brothers just hated Zack Snyder. There's a line in that I missed, and I don't know how I missed it. It's Batman basically saying that Arkham Asylum is not there to help anybody. And it's at the end when he goes in to see Lex Luthor in the prison cell. And Batman says something, and Lex says, no, I'm clinically insane. I can't even stand trial. They're going to put me away in a mental hospital. And Batman says, I pulled some strings. We have a place for people like you in Gotham. It's called Arkham Asylum. I know a lot of people there. I'm like, wow, so you're just admitting that Arkham is just a shit show hellhole that is there to help nobody.
Yeah, Arkham's old school mental health treatment where you just go and they basically warehouse you. Yeah.
It's it's the asylum from the Photo Divisor that we saw where Ildonazar was in there all tattooed and they were going to stick him in a bucket of water.
Oh my God. Yeah, man. Some places you don't want to go. There's a great, I'm sure you've read it. There's a great Arkham Asylum, not Serious House on Serious Earth, but one they did later where this blue collar or white collar criminal goes in. It's like for tax evasion or something, but somehow he ends up there. And it's like him trying to survive, having to choose to figure out whose bitch he's going to be while he's there. And He partners up with Humpty Dumpty, I think.
That's
And
that's bad. Go with Bane. Bane's there.
yeah. At least Bane isn't going to hump your Dumpty while you're there. It's like at least you're safe. At least your dick doesn't have to retreat all the way if you're in a room with Bane.
There's one Batman villain that you put in a movie and actually do right for once.
Humpty Dumpty or Bane?
No, Bane.
Oh, I'm fine with Bane. Bane's fine.
No, the Tom Hardy Bane. Like, what's with the mask?
Yeah,
What
I'm
the
fine with that guy.
We couldn't have and he needs to be built like a brick shit house too.
I didn't have a problem with Hardy Bane. Would I rather him be wearing a luchador mask? Yeah, but
it doesn't even have to be. I mean, they could have made something that looked more like the mask than his CPAP machine that he wore everywhere.
I don't necessarily never really understood how it was a pain relieving thing.
Yeah, there was that hole.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know about you. I'm going into the Batman with an open mind. I like the look of it. It looks very Batman year one, like he's just rudimentarily throwing everything together and seeing if it sticks.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% excited. I like everything that's going on. I'm fine with all the casting. I like that the Riddler looks like the fucking Zodiac killer, so I'm about it.
I'm kind of bummed that they wouldn't let Penguin smoke. Like, what the shit? Yeah. He's always had a cigar, at least. I'm looking forward to this. I gotta admit, I'm kind of fanboy bonered up a lot more for the Flash movie. I never thought I'd say that in my life. I never thought I'd be this excited for a Flash movie. But you tell me Keaton's in it, and he's in the bat suit. And then I saw the teaser trailer this week where they show up at Wayne Manor and they go into the foyer, and it is dead nuts 89 Batman. And I immediately sent it to my buddy Ryan. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, here we go. Like, Keaton's doing all the Bat Tease stuff on his Instagram page, like posting pictures of his shadow in the bat suit. And I'm like, oh, you motherfucker. Let me just show it to me. Come on. I mean, they're playing the guys like me. I mean, they got Keaton back. They got the suit. They're using the Anton First 89 Batmobile, which you will never, ever, ever be able to top. I don't care who they bring in.
They're hitting you where you live, is what you're saying.
Oh man, right in my fucking wallet. Like, fuck, shut up, take my money. Not like the Anton First Batmobile. Outside of the fact that I'll never be 10 again, it's an amazing design. It's so organic and it looks deadly, and it looks like a Batman. It looks like a fucking beast.
Yeah,
I like the interpretations of the riot tank from Dark Knight Returns that we've gotten over the years. But man, that Anton First Batmobile is nothing to fuck with.
No, that's the Batmobile I think of when I think of the Batmobile. So yeah, I'm with you there, man. And maybe that's because we grew up on it, but yeah, it's a great fucking look.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely nostalgia, but it's also rational thought. Look at that fucking thing. It is designed to be murder moving. It looks like it's going fast sitting still.
Yeah.
And they had that fucking Clooney one that looked like it had a fucking Slurpee machine strapped to the front of it. I've seen a lot of shitty movies in my day. I went to see Batman and Robin in the theater when it came out, and I was embarrassed to be in the theater. That's that and Doom. I was embarrassed to be in the theater for both.
Yeah, I didn't make it for Doom, but I definitely remember being real excited that Bane was going to be in this Batman movie here, and sitting there, and I'm just going like, oh, okay, this sucks, but please let Bane at least be cool. Please, nope. Okay, this sucks. And then, yeah, it was the complete opposite of cool. Yeah, but hey, Bane's come a long way. I know the Nolan Bane may not have been exactly what we wanted as far as looks, but I don't know, character-wise, I feel like they did good.
Character-wise, Tom Hardy nailed it. Like he nailed the cerebral aspect of Bane that was completely and utterly missing from his last interpretation on screen.
Yeah. Winnie the Pooh voice. I didn't have a problem with the Winnie the Pooh voice. I do have a problem with the fact that when you listen to the movie, it sounds like the voice is hovering over top of the rest of the mix.
Yeah. Well, they had to go back in and redub most of his audio because his audio was so muffled coming through the CPAP mask.
Yeah. Yeah. It's man, it's maybe not exactly what we wanted, but at the end of the day, it's not bad. It's not bad.
And I know people shit on Ben Affleck as Batman, but after rewatching Batman v Superman, I like both him as Batman and Cavill as Superman. I think Cavill was probably the best Superman we were ever going to get on screen.
Yeah, I agree. He's great. I love Ben Affleck as Batman too, man. I never ever had a problem with him. I like that he was big and scary and beefy and
yeah, that brick
you know.
shithouse Batman. And I was talking to my buddy Ryan about this. I said that sequence, the Batman rescues Martha Kent sequence,
Yeah.
might be the best cinematic representation of the Batman as a character. That whole sequence where he's just fucking beating the shit out of people.
Yeah.
And there's one spot where a guy comes up behind him and puts like 3 bullets into the back of his cowl. But we had seen Alfred working on the inner shell of the cowl earlier, so we can see that it's, armored. And we see how everything's tactical and how he's just fucking crippling people. And he kills a bunch of dudes. Like, it's finally like when did you ever play Arkham Knight?
Yeah.
When you hit people with the car and they're like, oh, the electronic field deters them. And I'm like, I just sent that guy 3 blocks that way. He's dead. Yeah. That guy is dead as a doornail. And you get to see that, what the hell was that?
What's that?
I heard a big beep. Was that on my end or your end?
I hear no beep over here, man.
Is that the internet telling us we're done?
Must have been the nerd alert going off over there at your house. Are you in the house? That would make sense, right?
The beep's coming from inside the house.
Yo, I think
everybody off.
This is a good lead in. No, there's still people sitting around. They must just be dead or sleeping on their end because we're on another tangent. But hey, you can look forward to another one after we watch the new Batman movie. We're definitely going to talk about it. And more 2000 AD next week, right?
Yes, we'll be back to our normal Wednesday time. It'll be fun, 7:00.
Yep,
we'll be here, and I guess until I'll see you Sunday for men in underwear wrestling for belts.
Sure.
And
I'll take us out. Yeah, we'll see everybody later. And